The ego is a big part of how our minds work. If we learn about where it comes from and how it works, we can get along better with others. Instead of trying to get rid of the ego completely, it can be helpful to learn how to have a good relationship with it. Being aware of ourselves, staying humble, and being careful about how society and culture influence us can help us handle our ego better. The ego is like the central part of who we are. It's how we see ourselves and where we fit in the world. Our interactions with others, relationships, and the things we accomplish all help shape our ego. Trying to get rid of the ego can be hard because people worry about losing their identity and connection with others. This can lead to personal growth and feeling good. Understanding and dealing with the ego isn't simple. It takes time. Thinking about ourselves, being kind, and realizing that people are complex. While some thoughts about spirituality and philosophy encourage us to eliminate our ego, doing so is quite challenging. Instead, it might be easier to learn about and recognize our ego. This helps us strike a balance between having a good understanding of ourselves and striving to improve as individuals. Here is a Zen story which I am going to share with you, which shows how to get rid of your ego. A student was confused about the idea of ego, so they asked a wise Zen master for help. The master explained it like this. Imagine your ego is like seeing your reflection in a stream. Sometimes we mistake the reflection for another person, just like we believe our ego is real. But when the water ripples and the reflection disappears, we realize it was never there. Curious, the student asked how to get rid of the ego. The master said you can't remove it because it's not actually there. It's like trying to run away from your own shadow. The ego is just the lack of true understanding, not a real thing. To really get it, we need to see that our self-perceptions come from our experiences. When we let go of holding on to these self-ideas, we can understand reality better, how everything is connected and part of a oneness. The student said he understood but still felt unsure. "Master," he said, "I get what you're saying, but letting go of my ego is tough. How can I actually do that?" The master smiled and pointed to a tree nearby. "See that tree?" he asked. "It stands tall and strong, firmly rooted in the ground, but it doesn't have an ego. It doesn't try to be anything other than itself. It just grows and thrives in harmony with everything around it." Looking at the tree, the student thought for a moment. "But master," he said, "we're not trees. We're complicated with thoughts and feelings. How can we be like the tree?" The master agreed. "Yes, we're not like trees, but we can learn from them. Just as trees grow well when they're in harmony with their surroundings, we too can thrive by being true to ourselves. If we practice being mindful and aware, we can let go of our ego and focus on the present. It's about realizing that everything is connected. Instead of trying to control everything, we can trust that life will unfold naturally." The student listened carefully and felt a sense of peace and understanding. He realized that letting go of the ego wasn't a difficult struggle. It was about trusting in the wisdom of the universe. Gratefully, he bowed to the teacher and started his journey of self-discovery and personal growth. The lesson of the story is that our ego, which comes from our experiences and how we see things, can't be completely removed. So it's not worth wasting energy trying to get rid of it. Even if we manage to lose our ego, we'll just end up identifying with something else, like the universe or a selfless idea, which is still a form of identification. There is another story from the monk storybook, which reflects that you can't get rid of ego, you have to handle it. Once, in a small village near calm mountains, there was a curious young person named Koji. They wanted to understand themselves better and went to a wise Zen teacher, Sensei Hiroshi, for help. Koji thought their ego was stopping them from learning and growing. Sensei Hiroshi smiled peacefully and asked Koji to have tea with him. While sitting quietly, Sensei poured tea into Koji's cup. The tea spilled over, making a mess on the table and floor. Koji was surprised and said, "Sensei, the cup is full. It can't take more tea." Sensei Hiroshi stopped and said calmly, "Koji, think of your mind like this cup. It's filled with ideas, wants, and the desire to get rid of the ego. You want to empty it, but it stays full. You can't force the ego away just by wanting it to go. Confused, Koji thought about what the master said. Sensei Hiroshi explained, "The ego isn't an enemy to beat. It's just a part of you, like how the cup holds tea. Your ego has a purpose. Instead of trying to get rid of it, look at it with kindness and understanding." Koji slowly understood Sensei Hiroshi's teachings. He realized that the ego wasn't something to fight against. It was a part of him, shaped by his experiences, society, and how he saw things. The more he tried to force it out, the more it stuck around. Through patient introspection and mindfulness, Koji learned to befriend his ego. He observed its tendencies without judgment, allowing its presence without letting it dictate his actions. In doing so, he discovered a sense of inner peace and acceptance. This Zen story reflects a profound truth about the ego, a truth that transcends philosophical discourse. The ego, ingrained within us, cannot be forcibly removed or denied. It is a product of our experiences, fears, desires, and societal influences. Attempts to eliminate it only reinforce its grip. However, the path to liberation lies not in eradicating the ego, but in understanding and embracing it. Like the cup that holds the tea, the ego has its role in shaping our experiences. Through mindfulness, self-reflection, and compassionate observation, one can cultivate a harmonious relationship with the ego, transcending its limitations without trying to forcibly eliminate it. Our sense of self, or ego, is strongly shaped by the society we live in, our cultural beliefs, and the relationships we have with others. As we grow up, we absorb messages from our surroundings that strengthen specific parts of our ego. Breaking down the ego means deeply reconsidering the beliefs, values, and social influences we've internalized over time. This can be a tough and challenging process. One big reason why people find it hard to let go of their ego is because of our evolutionary history. The ego, in simple terms, is like a built-in tool that has developed over thousands of years to help us survive. It's there to help us figure out what we need, stay safe from dangers, and understand how to fit into the groups we need to survive. So the ego isn't just something in our minds, but it's a crucial part of how humans have adapted to live in the world. Think about work like a small world where people's egos often clash. When everyone wants to do their best and be noticed, it can cause problems. People might fight over ideas and power, even though they're working on a project together. Instead of focusing on the team's success, they care more about their own ideas, making it hard to work together and get things done. Think about work like a small world where people's egos often clash. When everyone wants to do their best and be noticed, it can cause problems. People might fight over ideas and power, even though they're working on a project together. Instead of focusing on the team's success, they care more about their own ideas, making it hard to work together and get things done. Moreover, the way society is set up really helps the ego stick around. Society focuses a lot on being successful, having stuff, and comparing ourselves to others. This creates a culture where people judge their value based on outside standards. Always comparing ourselves like this makes the ego stronger, causing us to feel either not good enough or better than others. It becomes a cycle that just makes the ego more powerful. Trying to completely get rid of your ego might not be the best idea. Instead, you could try to understand and handle it better. For example, things like paying attention to the present moment, thinking about yourself, and being more understanding can help you see and deal with how your ego affects you. If you recognize your insecurities and what makes you react a certain way, you can start to build a better connection with your ego over time. This can lead to personal growth and better relationships with others. To truly discover ourselves and grow, we should focus on being mindful and aware, letting go of our strong attachments to ourselves, and recognizing the interconnectedness and unity of everything. If you found this helpful, please give us a thumbs up to help us reach more people seeking ancient wisdom. If you're new here, subscribe and click the notification bell for more lessons on ancient wisdom. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video. To watch more videos, choose one of the videos that will appear on your screen now. Thanks for listening, We will meet soon. Until then, take a very good care of yourself. Have a great day.